Hello and welcome to a quick introduction of the Japanese Heritage Academy, which is a new school that we're starting here in Austin, Texas. This school is actually being started by my wife, Donna, who has a long history in the sales side of the world, our first teacher, Yuko-san, as well as myself, Andy Treba, who I run a variety of different software companies here in town, as well as a private equity firm called Think3, as well as I'm actually on the delegation between the US and Japan in our leadership program that we have between the two governments. So the reason we're starting this Japanese Heritage Academy is that we've got two little girls, a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, that currently go to the Austin Japanese School and love it. And it's a great school, but the curriculum is really designed for expat kids that are returning back to Japan. And that's why the Japanese government pays for it, and that's why the curriculum is very, very focused on the language elements to enable those kids to jump back into whatever grade they need to go back to Japan. However, 80% of the kids are actually from the Austin area and are actually American kids that aren't really going to be going back into the Japanese school district, and therefore the curriculum we feel should be tailored towards those types of kids that really are interested in becoming fluent in Japanese, but we also want to infuse additional life skills as well as skills around an understanding of the Japanese culture, which we think there's so many great things that we can impart amongst our kids. And we're also very interested in using technology to really accelerate the learning process and make it a fun environment. At the end of the day, since it is on the weekends, really has to compete against the soccers and the basketballs that occur during that time, so that the kids really have to love it. And we really want to make that fun element really a key characteristic of the school itself. So the goals that we really have are really along these three lines, which one, we really want to make it an enjoyable experience for kids. We really want to ensure that there is the heritage element in there where we're teaching the kids about the Japanese culture and the traditions. And then again, we use technology to really have that machine learning element of it to enable that type of mastery to occur versus the classic pen and paper model. And we also want to infuse some of the additional life skills such as presenting and utilizing things such as coding and other STEM that's going to be important for these kids. So the structure is actually going to be two parts. There's going to be an at-home component where the kids are going to be using an online program to really learn Japanese through this machine learning model. And then our expectation is that they spend 30 minutes a day on that, or 2.5 hours a week. And then at school, it will be a 3-hour program. The first hour will be actually reinforcement of that language. So a lot of the things that they've done at home and be able to reinforce that for the first hour. The second hour is actually going to be heritage based. So we're going to be having a variety of different topics that they'll then be preparing a project for and then doing a presentation at the end of that. And the third part is actually going to be around computer programming. And it's going to be STEM as a whole, but this part is we're going to focus on in the pilot, specifically around computer programming and being able to infuse that into the model. We're going to run this program for 8 weeks, so it's going to be 9 to 12 on Saturdays, very similar to the Austin Japanese School. And during the pilot, it actually will be of no cost since there's a lot of things that we want to learn. And then the first day will be April, last day will be June. And after we learn, we'll make a determination how we would scale this in the fall and really expand the program from there. So in the near term, what we're looking for is really a small subset of kids and families that really want to be involved in this. Our expectations are that the families are involved and are really helping us go and develop this pilot program and really provide great feedback back and forth on how the kids are progressing, the curriculum and others. And on the student side of it, we're looking for kids that are roughly in that 7 to 11 year old time horizon, roughly third to fourth grade equivalent of the Austin Japanese School. They have to be fluent in Japanese since the discussions will all be in Japanese, but we'll be emphasizing really more about the communication element of it than we are, the initial requirements around having to have a certain knowledge of kanji and what have you. We'll certainly build on that, but the kids that we're looking for is just really a handful of kids that are kind of in this range or so. So as I mentioned, the first hour will be around the language elements. We'll be using a computer program called Gakken, and it's gamification. So the kids will be, ideally having fun, utilizing this program, playing the different games per se, which they'll be learning. They'll be doing that during the week. And then during the weekend, we're going to be reinforcing that with in-class. All of the tests themselves will actually be in the computer program, so we're actually not going to be deploying tests within the school itself, but we're hoping that that will actually drive better mastery versus someone even just taking a test actually in class. The second part, as I mentioned, is going to be around the heritage. So we're going to be choosing a variety of different topics, from Mount Fuji to cherry blossoms to other things like that Japanese holidays, and having the kids watch videos at home, as well as bringing experts to be able to talk about it a bit more. They're going to be doing a project, and at the end of that hour, they're going to be actually standing up and presenting in front of their other classmates, what they've learned about that particular topic, so that we can really get them to advance on their presentation skills and be comfortable in front of a crowd. The last part, and I'm really excited about this, is going to actually be around the science, technology, education, mathematics side of the world. And specifically in the near term, we're going to choose the programming side. There's a great program here in Austin, Texas, that's run by a great entrepreneur. Her name's Sabina, and it's Hello World. And what Hello World is basically computer programming taught to kids. So they're really optimized around how kids learn. We're going to be infusing this as part of the program. And we're actually going to be teaching that both in English will be the curriculum, but it's really we're going to have Japanese teachers there to really teach it also in Japanese. And we're going to be experimenting whether or not this is a great model, but we do believe that coding is an important part of the future of education, and infusing that early on is really important, and we're going to be doing that for an hour. So during the pilot, we've got a lot of things to measure. Just like all my other startups that I've done, we want to really learn from this time period. So we want to learn about the program structure. Is 5.5 hours a week, enough time for kids to continue to become fluent in Japanese? Is, utilizing machine learning in these programs great at home? How is the curriculum effectiveness on, each one of those 3 hours? How's the effectiveness of learning? What's the feedback from the kids? Are they having fun with it? What's the feedback from the parents? Is this something that, that they can see their kids progressing? And how's that 2.5 hours online? Is the program good? So there's a lot to measure, a lot to learn, and it's going to be a very iterative process. And I think that during this 8-week time period, it's going to be important to have the parents really be involved here, so that we can get it much better to launch even a greater scale as we get into the fall for the entire next year. So if you're interested in this, we'd love to chat with you about it. There is an application program so that we can chat about the program to make sure the expectations are set. But please send my wife an email at donnartriba@gmail.com, and we'd love to sit down and chat even more about what this program will be, not only in the near term during the pilot, but also long term as we look to augment the current systems that are out there. And we're really excited to bring this to the Austin community. Thank you very much, and hope to talk to you soon.